realized He has ransomed me. His grace runs deep. While I was a slave to sin, Jesus died for me. Yes, He died for me. Who the Son sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am what you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am what you say I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am what you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am what you say I am. I am what you say I am. Who the Son sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. I'm a child of creation I sing praise to the King of Kings. You are my everything, and I will adore you. Clothed in rainbows of living color, flashes of lightning, rolls of thunder. Blessing and honor, strength and glory and power be to you, the only wise King. Yeah. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty, who was and is to come. With all creation I sing praise to the King of Kings. You are my everything, and I will adore you. Filled with wonder, awestruck wonder at the mention of your name. Jesus, your name is power, breath and living water, such a marvelous mystery. Yeah. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty, who was and is to come. With all creation I sing praise to the King of Kings. You are my everything, and I will adore you. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty, who was and is to come. With all creation I sing praise to the King of Kings. You are my everything, and I will adore you. Adore you.
Celine, congratulations on your 8th grade graduation. Mom, Dad, and Evan are so proud of you today and always. We hope that this next chapter of life is filled with many more blessings and for you to be a light to others. We love you.
Hey Megan, we wanted to congratulate you on finishing the 8th grade and for all your accomplishments. We wanted to thank you for trying your best at everything that you've done, not only your schoolwork, but in sports and all the activities that you participated in. And Mom and Dad are praying for you, that God will lead you and guide you in high school. So before we finish this message, I'm going to have Mom read a Bible verse for you.
It's from Numbers 6, verses 24 through 26. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. And the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace.
Aloha.
사랑해.
사랑해. Peace out.
Congratulations, Ryan. We're so very proud of you. We're so sorry that we didn't get to have a graduation ceremony, or you didn't get to say goodbye to some of your friends that are going to different high schools because of this craziness. But after it's all over, we'll have a big party, okay? And all you guys are invited. All right? So until then, stay safe. We love you, Ryan.
Love you.
Noah, congratulations on graduating from high school. Mom and I are so proud of you. You turned out to be such an incredible young man. We're so proud of your achievements. We know that it hasn't been always easy. You went to a high school that was very competitive and very challenging, and yet you rose to the occasion. So we look forward to even bigger and better things for you as you continue on to the next part of your journey. So again, congratulations, and may the Lord always be a lamp at your feet and a light for your path. We love you very much, and best of luck to you as you begin the next chapter of your life.
congratulations on your high school graduation, Jackson. I know your senior year is nothing like you envisioned, and forever we will recognize the class of 2020 who faced a great challenge. I hope these unique circumstances will encourage you to be even more courageous and inspire you to make a difference in this world. As you start this new journey in life during this time of uncertainty, never stop learning, exploring, growing, and challenging yourself to give it your best. Remember, we're always here for you, and we'll be cheering for you every step of the way. Be mindful, be kind, be even stronger, and respond with love and compassion. And don't forget to wash your hands. I love you a ton, my son.
I want to thank Julie Kim for giving that commencement graduation speech to our son Jackson Kim. Jack, we love you, we're proud of you, and we are so happy that you are at this position. You make us proud. We love you.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate everything you do.
We love you!
Hi, Tori. Congratulations on your graduation, Tori. I cannot believe you're already graduating from high school and ready for college. I wish you all the best with your brand new beginning, and God be with you every second of each day. I love you.
Wow, it is your graduation already. But let's remember, this is not an end, but a regrouping point. As you go into the greater world, I have no doubt you will do well, because you're strong and talented. One thing at a time, one day at a time, I'm sure you'll do well. I love you.
Good morning and happy Sabbath, church family. I want to welcome all of you to Upper Room Fellowship. We're so glad that you're joining us today. We had special recognitions for our graduates, and as we saw in the video, we want to just congratulate all of our graduates from elementary school all the way up to college. You know, it's such a blessing that even in the midst of COVID-19 and social distancing, they are able to continue on into the next chapter in their lives. And so again, we want to congratulate all of our graduates of Upper Room 2020 this year. Over the last couple weeks, the world has been reminded by the systematic and sinful face of racism, by the recent death of George Floyd, and honestly, many others. I was impressed this week to call some of my friends and see how they're doing during these trying times. And I also felt impressed after talking to them that we needed to hear their story. And so I had the privilege the other day of sitting down for 2.5 hours and talking to my two friends about their daily struggle with discrimination and racism. The stories that you are going to hear are real, truthful, and honest. And my prayer is that these stories will enlighten, empower, embolden you to no longer be silent, no longer be complacent, but be compassionate, loving, and an acting Christian to reach out to those that are oppressed, because this is what God has called us to do. Once again, thank you so much for joining us, and I pray that you are blessed by the hearing of these stories. Happy Sabbath.
Okay, I want to introduce my friends, Demery White and Kelly Jean Phillip. And I met both of these guys in seminary. I've been blessed to the fact that I've been able to have a conversation with these guys. One of the reasons for this presentation, this conversation really, is to get these guys' stories out so that we are not ignorant anymore to what is happening on a daily basis. And so, you know, it's such a blessing that Demery, you're here. Thank you so much for being here. Kelly, Jean Phillip, thank you so much for being here. Just to give you guys a little bit of background for these guys, Pastor Demery, he is a pastor in the Lake Conference of Seventh-day Adventist, and that's in the Midwest. And he's pastoring two churches, Battle Creek Berean and Kalamazoo Trinity Temple, right? And Kelly is a chaplain at the Children's Hospital in Philadelphia. So once again, I want to thank you guys both for being here and allowing us to have this very, very important conversation of something that, you know, we don't think we struggle with, and we don't, honestly, we don't on an everyday basis, but I know you guys do. My prayer is for this conversation is to uplift your stories, is to uplift you guys, share your perspectives and your insight, and educate myself and all those that are watching about the systemic pandemic of evil and racism and injustice that does affect everyone. We'll start off with you, Demery. Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Well, first of all, Kevin, thank you for allowing Kelly and I to, to talk with your people, talk with the world about things that we have been dealing with, before we were born. And we'll find out after this conversation, my goal is that you'll find out that it's not just a black thing, it's not just a white thing, but it's a humanity thing, a human thing, that we have this problem of racism and all these isms. And I just want to say, though, also, you and I started pastoring around the same time, Kevin. My hair is turning gray, but you are looking younger and younger as you pastor. I don't know what they have in California, but over here at Lake Region, I don't know. We must be work a little bit. I don't know. So thank you, man. Thank you so much for having me and Kelly here, man, to bless you. I was originally born in the beautiful island of Jamaica, West Indies. I came to America, to Harlem, New York, when I was 5 years old. So most of my life, I'm one of those people that, yes, we were born in a different country, but because we were nurtured in a certain environment, we claim that environment. So I'm kind of like a dual citizen, if you want to call it that, of Jamaica and America. In Harlem, New York, as I came to matriculate to the ages, I saw racism, or I saw that I was different in different levels. The first time in high school, there was these Caucasian young ladies that were interested in me. And because of all the stuff I heard on television, pertaining to blacks, men being caught with white young girls, and the girls saying that it was rape and stuff, I literally would shun them. They were just wanting to be friends probably, but I didn't want anything. So I had that fear first. The anger came later on, and we'll talk about that. But my first thing was fear. Listening to media, listening to the environment. So when I saw white people, I was standoffish. I wanted nothing really to do with them because I didn't want to go to jail, And so that was my first. And then later on, just in life, when I went to the South, that's when I realized that because I was an African American, to the African Americans, I was not considered really black. That was my story. That's just a nutshell, really a nutshell. I've been in marches with, yes, Al Sharpton when we were in New York City. I've marched with him. I've been marched at Oakwood University. So I've been involved And to see it still going on is sickening. It reminds me of Psalms 13, I think it is, Psalms 13, where David starts the conversation, how long, Lord?
Mm.
How long? And I actually preached that sermon this past Sabbath. How long? Like, how much longer, Lord, are we going to suffer these affliction before people's eyes open up and realize what they're doing to us? And that this is not just only us, our problem, but this is a human problem.
How about you, Kelly? Give us a little bit about yourself and your story too.
So I was, like Denry, also born outside of the United States. I was born in Caracas, Venezuela, to Haitian parents.
Wow.
So while Denry is a dual citizen, I guess I'm like a triple citizen of sorts. My entire family is from Haiti. And so growing up, I am Haitian by culture, Venezuelan by birth, and I lived in Venezuela for about 5 years. So the first 10 years of my life were split between Venezuela and Haiti. So I came to the United States when I was 10, and similarly to Denry, my formal education, if you will, has been here in the United States. My way of thinking is a combination of American with a lot of Haitian back ways and just a little bit of that Hispanic sazon.
Nice.
So that's what that's my makeup.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know I was Black until I came to the United States of America.
Oh.
Good point.
Living in Venezuela, the little bit that I remember in Haiti, I didn't know that there was such a thing as you're Black, you're white, you're this, you're that, until I came to America. I just lived my life going back to that notion. There are people who say, well, I don't see color. Sure, whatever. What I'm saying is, I don't let how you look or where you're from dictate whether or not I see you as a human being. So when I was in college, I was the guy who, knew people from across the spectrum. So Black, white, Asian, African, Hispanic, you name it. Like, I'm sitting at the table with everybody, to the point that one of the clubs on campus, one of the African American clubs on campus that I belong to, they took me out of their group, out of the club, out of their emailing list, because I wasn't, ready for this one, Denry?
Yeah.
Black enough. Because I just hung out with everybody. And I'm not saying that they didn't hang out with everybody, but their flavor of Blackness was not what my flavor of Blackness was, whatever that means. I was not Black according to that standard, because I'm not African American. I am Haitian American. I am Venezuelan American. I am Haitian Venezuelan American.
It's funny, Kelly said that, because it was the opposite for me in New York. Not until I went to the South was I declassified as not being Black. When we were in New York, no matter where you were from, because you're dark skinned, we were Black. Honestly, like I had my friends. I had mixed variety of friends from different backgrounds. West Indian, African friends, African American friends. So we were in it together, because when we used to get pulled over by cops, Kelly, they didn't ask whether you're West Indian. Are you West Indian? Oh, right. You get a pass because you're West Indian. Oh, you look like you're African. You know what? Go ahead. You can go ahead. But you African American, you stay right here. Right? No, we all were in the same boat. And so what blew my mind, guys, was when I went to the South. Now, here I am, raised in New York City, in Harlem, New York, of all the places, and I leave and I go to the South. And I get there, it's Oakwood University, and we participated, and there's other blacks there. It was when I was getting interviewed, Kelly, to be a pastor, which is the sad part of our. That's when we were told, those of us who are from another soil, that you're not black enough.
Wow.
And you're talking about somebody who's gotten beat down in New York. Somebody who's got thrown on the ground, slammed with their face on glass by cops because I'm dark skinned. And then you go now to your own people, right? And they tell you you're not black enough. So when Kelly says that, Kevin, that you're not black enough, maybe we need to define that for him, Kelly. What does blackness means? And let me just real quick, Kevin, it means basically you weren't part of the original struggle from slavery all the way through. Now, keep in mind now, West Indies, we had slavery in Jamaica. I think they had it in Venezuela. I mean, of course they had it in Haiti, but I'm sure they had it in South America. But because you weren't part of the lineage of the struggle, that's the key word, Kevin, the struggle from African-American soil slavery, then you're truly not black.
And so there was a transition, and I'm just trying to wrap my head around this. A transition from being categorized as all of a sudden you are black, because from the places that you guys originally came from, you weren't. That's who you are. This was normal, and then all of a sudden, boom, you have a category, black. But then even within your category, from other African American black people, you're even categorized again. How has that affected you in your time here in America and this whole talk of prejudice and discrimination?
I have fun with it. A lot of times when I am filling out a form, for instance, and it asks for race, and I'm like, I want to be Alaskan today. So I'll put Alaskan. Or I think I've even put Caucasian at some point, or whatever the case is. Because like Denry says, when someone else who is not dark-skinned looks at me, they're not going to think, oh, here comes a Haitian American. Oh, here comes here comes a black guy, period. Like, end of story. So the little subcategories within, blackness itself and all of that stuff is like, cool, you can do that, whatever. At the end of the day, if racist dude comes, kicks down this door, you could be like, he's not going to say, well, you're the real black guy, but you.
Exactly.
Nah, it's all the same. It's all the same. So it took a while for me to stop classifying myself differently because I wanted to highlight the fact that I was not African American. I wanted to highlight that fact. So whenever someone would say, well, black people X, Y, and Z, I felt some type of way about that because I'm like, well, I'm not the North American black. My family's from Haiti. So you're not talking about my blackness. You're talking about North American blackness. And it's not until maybe about 10 years ago or so that I start to realize, Kel, nobody cares.
Wow.
Where you're from, bro. Just stop trying to make that distinction.
Yeah.
Whether you Haitian, whether you Jamaican, whether you're Trinidadian, whether you this, whether you that, this is the only thing that people see. Nobody's stopping you to asking for questions and demographics and all of that stuff. So while in my own way, I was trying to exclude myself from the struggle, it followed me wherever I went. I remember this one time I was at a Macy's with my mom and my cousin. And my mom was trying on something in the dressing room. And my cousin and I were holding on to the bags that my mom gave us so that she can go to the dressing room and try on the item. I was in high school then, so I was definitely around like 16, 17, 18. And I'm chilling in the Macy's. Me and my cousin, we're just standing there by the waiting room, minding our own business, busting it up, just, you know, waiting for my mom to try her thing and come out. One of the attendees was just walking back and forth.
Yes.
Fixing things that didn't necessarily need to be fixed.
Yes.
But, dude, oblivious to the fact, because I know I'm not doing anything wrong.
Yes.
I know I'm not a criminal. I know I'm not a suspect of any crime. I know I'm not any of that stuff. I'm just waiting for my mom to come out this dressing room so we can get going. And at one point, I noticed that she just kept walking back and forth in front of us, and she kept looking at us. This woman, this white lady, she must have been about mid-40s, early 50s, mid-40s to mid-50s, I'll say. She mustered up the energy to walk directly to us and very matter-of-factly just said, if I were you guys, I'd be very careful, because right now, every camera in this store is pointed at you.
Say it.
Wow. Wow.
And walked away.
Wow.
Yeah.
My cousin and I were like, huh?
Yep.
We just standing here. We were just standing there, talking to each other. We weren't picking out clothes to try them on. We weren't looking around the store to see what we want. We were having a conversation, he and I, while my mom is in the dressing room, just standing there. And this woman came and she delivered this message. So, you know, things like that was just like, Kel, forget about it, bro. Whether you're Haitian, whether you're Jamaican, whether you whatever. Here in North America, your crime is your skin.
Kelly, it's like you and I live in the same world. And Kevin, you would see, if you add 10 more black people on here, if you get African Americans and others on here, you would hear, it would sound like a redundant story, because that's what we live daily. Kevin, we're talking about,
it's like we're reading from the same script.
Exactly. We're talking about even still now, Kevin, the situation that occurred in Central Park a couple weeks ago, right, was the same thing Kelly just talked about. People's eyes are open now to see the hatred, the systematic racism, embedded, it's in your DNA racism. And like the question that you posed, Kevin, you said amongst us, it is so bad. This is why I said it's not just a black history. Yes, we're getting the plague of it. No, let's not desensitize that and calm that down, Kelly. Like, oh, you know, whatever. No, we are getting the plague of this. When Kelly was saying he was standing at the store, minding his own business with his cousin, waiting on his mother, being a good boy, not doing anything wrong. And look how he's treated. Why? Because he's dark-skinned black.
You guys experience this almost regularly, if not every day.
Every day.
And the crazy thing is, one, you're not doing anything. Two, you're not being rude. And three, when altercations, when things happen, you are compliant. But even when you're compliant, there is such a picture or view or image of, you know, whether it is your, you know, one, it is your skin already. Two, it is the systemic ideology that black people are ghetto, black people are bad, they're gonna steal, you know, all of these things. All of those things are already registered in a person's mind, judging you, and you've done nothing. This is kind of the idea that people miss when they say all lives matter. Am I right? I want you guys to talk about that, because I was in that boat. I heard, when I first heard Black Lives Matter, it's like, well, what are you guys talking about? All lives matter. You know, all lives matter are important. And it's not until I started to understand some of this dynamic.
Black Lives Matter. This started with about 5-6 years ago, Kevin.
About 5,
Kelly, when Trayvon Martin was killed by Zigerman, right? And then
There was Trayvon. There was Eric Gardner. There was Mike Brown.
The guy in Ferguson was shot. Hands up, don't shoot.
Yeah, Michael Brown.
Yeah, Michael Brown. And the statement was simply this: Black Lives Matter. We're trying to get the message out to let you guys know, because we were the ones dying. We're the ones being executed. And we were the ones who were not even going to a trial or a jury or even a lawyer. We're being executed and judged on the street and treated as animals, like somebody's hunting us. You know, we're being shot at and killed for obeying in some cases. And police and even American citizens, Caucasian American citizens, were just getting off scotch-free. No consequences, nothing, as if we didn't matter. And so the slogan came, Black Lives Matter, not to diminish anyone else's. And
I want to take you on a thought exercise, Kev. Okay, so just follow along with me here.
Okay.
If you commit a crime and you get arrested, what is your expectation of what will happen to you?
Judge, jury, trial. They will take the evidence. They'll get everything done, and then a jury will give the sentence, and I either go to jail or I'm set free. So that's ultimately my
known
expectation.
as due process.
Yeah.
Right. Cool. If someone does something bad, if someone commits a crime, that person deserves to be punished.
Mm-hmm.
Due process. We just spoke about it. The problem is when a Black person does something, whether that person was guilty of that act. So let's take the case of Mr. Floyd, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say that he did have a counterfeit 20.
Okay.
Okay. And he wanted to commit fraud in that way by buying something with a counterfeit 20. Now, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know what the letter of the law is, but that clearly is something that you should not do. So I think in the least possible way, that's a crime. Okay. So let's call, for the purpose of this example, Mr. Floyd a criminal if he indeed had this counterfeit 20 that he was trying to use to buy a sandwich, whatever it is he was trying to buy. Okay, cool. So this citizen has now committed a crime, and the store owner decides to call the police. Cool. The police ought to come, assess the situation. If there's enough evidence to warrant that Mr. Floyd gets arrested, they will put him in handcuffs, stick him in the back of the patrol car, take him to the precinct, get him booked, in jail, let due process take place. But he ends up dead, murdered by a police officer. Now, the story that spins out is, well, when he died, he was high on something. He had this in his system.
Yep.
Well, did you know that he had a criminal record? Well, did you know that in the case of, if I remember Trayvon Martin correctly, in the case of Trayvon Martin, he had weed in his book bag. In the case of Michael Brown, well, they showed Facebook pictures, some of his pictures of smoking and this and that. And so these are the things that justify for those who say all lives matter, the execution of this Black life. Look how he was living anyway. He was a drug addict, even though the dude was probably smoking some weed, or maybe not smoking some weed. He had a criminal record. Maybe it was like a petty offense. Maybe it was a DUI. He got stuck in jail for one night and boom, he has a criminal record. Whatever extensive the record is, and even if that person was a hardcore drug addict, what is being said is that he got murdered. So what's happening is every time something like this happens, the first thing that comes out in the media, drug problems, broken home issues, criminal records. You go to the white side, a white dude that shoots up a school and kills one person, two people, a handful of people, whatever.
Yeah.
The first thing that comes out in the media, oh, he had mental issues.
Always.
He had he was such a straight A student. He was an honor roll student. Hey yo, I'm trying to see the pictures of my man when he was doing some wild stuff. But no, the wild things are reserved for.
Wow. Wow.
But the positive, mushy, I can't believe that our society lost someone that was just so promising for the future. Whiteness. Blackness is, nah. This person, in many of these cases, this police officer or this neighborhood watch man or these people who took it upon themselves to make sure that nobody else will break into their neighborhood in Ahmaud Arbery's case, they did us a favor by getting rid of this trash. Because this trash smoked and had a criminal record. So all lives matter that are not black should be the full statement.
Wow. Wow.
You can't say all lives matter, but when that person, when I get shot and killed, when I get my carotid artery pressed on, even long after I'm dead, when I have my hoodie on and I get executed, when I'm out for a jog and I get executed, when I fail to signal a change lane and I get executed, or when I'm just chilling in my apartment, minding my own business, and I get executed, you can't say that all lives matter if you're not saddened by the fact that I didn't even get, in a lot of those cases, the chance for due process. So when people say Black Lives Matter, we're not talking about if Denry did something wrong that he shouldn't get the full weight of the law, deserving of the punishment that he committed. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is we can't even get to that because the powers that be take it upon themselves to be both executioner and judge.
Wow. Wow.
Just based on the color of my skin.
It literally blows my mind the amount of prejudice. You know, I knew there was, you know, and I think most people are in my boat to say, you know, I know there's prejudice. I know there's racism, but it doesn't click in our minds to understand just how much there is when it comes to the color of your skin, when it comes to this preconceived notion of what Black people are here in America. The question I wanted to ask, with all of this that you're talking about, you know, how is this affecting your families?
When these things keep reoccurring, Kevin, it is not a night that my wife and I are not concerned about, especially our two oldest boys. Nate is 14, Nate's about 13, and Dan's is 11, and then the baby, she's 7. My concern, Kevin, is not them getting into an accident. That is a concern. That is a concern. Getting a car accident. Not my concern is not necessarily a DUI. That is a concern. My concern, Kevin, for them and my children, is being pulled over by a cop.
Wow.
When I sit down with my kids, we protest. We went to a protest Saturday. My oldest was so angry, Kelly. And yeah, I had to sit my son down, Kevin. I had to sit him down and like look into his eyes and just help him de-escalate. And all he said, all he kept saying is, Dad, why are they not listening? They keep doing the same thing over and over again. They don't care. No matter what we say, whether we do good, they don't care. We do bad, they don't care. It's praying that God placed a hedge of protection over our children. Just because I'm a pastor doesn't mean that, I'm immune to this.
Yeah, I'm having to have conversations with my 1 week old about how beautiful he is, how intelligent he is, how proud I am of him already, how strong of a person he is. And I know he's strong because every time I change his diaper, we be fighting. I've had 2 arguments with him already, and I'm not sure who won those arguments, but they're pending. So he has a strong character. So I keep reminding him that, he has a lot going for himself. I've been telling him that in this world, he will come across a lot of people who will love him and cheer for him and support him, and he will also come across a lot of people who hate him just because of the color of his skin. And the other night, I found myself telling him that he can achieve whatever he wants to, that he, whatever goal he sets for himself, he should just go ahead and go for it, regardless of what people think of him or how people perceive him. But the most important thing that I've told him so far, aside from how much he is loved by me and my wife, is that he is created in the image of God, and that even the people who will hate him for the color of his skin are also created in the image of God. Wow. And so he ought to always respect people because people are created in the image of God. The fact of the matter is, we are living in this environment outside of the garden, and it is chaotic and it is dangerous, and it is not geared for your protection or my protection. And I know already at 35 years old that there is a possibility, because I wake up black every day, that my son may know my name preceded by a hashtag. I know that that's a possibility.
Wow.
I also know that it's a possibility that as he grows and becomes, and I end up taking Denry's place right now where he has 2 teenage sons, I also know that I may end up one day wearing a t-shirt with my son's name as a hashtag on it. Oh, I know that that's a possibility. So to be able to sit with that with a 1 week old already, you deal with it as you wish. So these are the type of thoughts that are running through my mind when it comes to how am I then going to educate my son so that he is a productive member of society.
Jesus said a couple of times, Kevin, he said 2 things. They asked him about the commandments. He says, broken up in 2 parts. Love God with all your heart. And then he said, love your neighbor as yourself. And one of them, I think it's Matthew 5:43. There's a couple of times he said it. He does say, love your neighbor as yourself. And then he says, you were told to love your neighbor and hate your enemies. Like Kelly, being black and Adventist, I've always wondered what category are we in, because none of those categories apply to us.
Wow.
That's a good point. Being
serious here. And I preach this at my church too, not just because of the skin color thing, but I just a couple of days ago, we had a discussion similar to this, and predominantly the people were Caucasian and they were from Adventist church. And I even asked them this question that I'm asking your viewers: why now? Why do you care now? And I'm not in a facetious, not in a spiteful way. But why now? When he said, love your neighbor as yourself, that's one. Then he said, you are told to hate your enemies, but I'm telling you, love your enemies, treat them also with kindness, do good to them. So I've always been wrestling for a while, Kelly. I've been wrestling for years now when I deal with white Adventists or white Christians in general, evangelicals or whatever, and I'm treated in neither of those categories. There was only 2 categories Jesus gave. Well, maybe 3. God, but we're not God, so but he said love. But if we were, said love the Lord thy God with all your heart. So that's not us. We're not. Then he said love your neighbor. Then he said love your enemy. So what category is Kelly and I in, and all the dark skinned people?
Wow.
Did they recreate another book in the Bible that says, yeah, love the Lord, love your neighbor, even love your enemies, but don't like them people. Don't even like those people over there. And you be all right with Jesus. He's going to give you a thumbs up.
How does your faith then deal with that? Because you're taught, here's the faith. How does your faith deal with that? Because you're being categorized that you're not in any of those categories that Jesus talks about, right? And your worship style is too celebratory, and your preaching style is just for entertainment. How do you guys take that and then go back out and minister to people?
And I'm not being cliches. I'm telling you from my personal, Kelly will speak for himself, me personally, what is keeping me is Jesus Christ. What I suffered through, what I see my people suffer through, he has suffered through also. And like what I said to you, the same issues we have now, they had it in the biblical days, even in front of Jesus. My faith is in the word of God, not in my church. I am part of the church, but the church is full of imperfect people. The church is perfect because Jesus made it perfect, but the people are imperfect. Because Jesus says, on this rock, and the gates of hell would not prevail. It's Jesus Christ. Listen, I'm proud to be black because of Jesus Christ. There's no other God, Confucius, Buddha, you name Haile Selassie, none of them have gone through anything close to what I've gone through than Jesus Christ. Here we go. You go through it. They say any good thing can come out of Nazareth. I know what that means. Any good thing can come out of Harlem. Okay, all right, got that. His mother was, hold on, this was kind of suspicious. Is Joseph really his father? Not knowing where his father is. Hey, cha-ching, click again. Betrayed by his brothers, cha-ching, here we go again. So it's added up for me, brother. So I'm part of this faith because of Jesus' grace. When I look upon Jesus, Kevin and Kelly, I identify. I know Black Lives Matter.
I love the Lord with all my heart. I try to serve him as sincerely as I possibly can. And I try to call other people into action as God has called me into action. And the one thing that I keep coming back to is this. 1 John 4:20. If someone says, I love God, but hates a fellow believer, that person is a big fat liar.
Wow.
For if we don't love people that we can see, how in God's name can we say we love God whom we've never seen?
Wow.
It's just that simple for me. For me and for others, this is the measuring stick. Lord, what must I do to be saved? Well, what does the commandment say? Well, the commandments say that I ought to love the Lord God with all my heart, soul, and mind, and to love my neighbor as myself. Cool. So do that and you will be okay. But Lord, who is my neighbor? Funny you should ask. A man was traveling on the road and thieves came down and beat him up.
Yeah.
The pastor came, walked by, seen him, he kept it moving.
Yeah.
The deacon came, the elder came, walked by, seen him, kept it moving. Now, whatever the context is, insert whatever minority or outcast you want to in this parable.
Yeah.
My context, the black guy came, he saw him, he was like, oh shoot, this man is hurt. So picked him up, put him in the whip, took him to the nearest urgent care, and he said to the check-in nurse, hey, put this on my tab, and I'll come back and check in on him in a couple of days, and whatever else I need to pay, I got you.
Yep.
So I ask you, Adventist person who claims all lives matter, who's the neighbor? Go and do likewise.
Wow.
So what point is it to love the Lord with all your heart, soul, and mind, but you're going to step over, you're going to deliberately choose to ignore the plight of your fellow brothers and sisters?
That is eye-opening and powerful, and it is something that we, and when I say we, myself and all of my non-black brothers and sisters that are listening needed to hear. And it is a call to us that we need to step up. We really do. I want to again thank you guys for sharing your story, for being honest and open and truthful with me. Before we close, do you mind if we just close it out with a word of prayer?
Yeah. Yes.
God, I want to thank you so much for this opportunity to hear this amazing story that Denry and that Kelly had to share with us, the struggles, Lord, that they go through. Of course, all life matters, but Lord, the black lives are the ones that are being discriminated, that have to daily, every single day, have to fight and just push through prejudice and discrimination that is constant around them, Father God. And so many of us don't understand that, don't get that. But I pray that we do. I pray that those that are listening, those that have watched this, Lord, those that have been blessed by this will take action in even on the basic level of having compassion for our brothers and sisters that have been disenfranchised, disrespected, disregarded, and just really just hated. And that we start doing things, Father God, to the least of these. Or they are your children. They are in your image. All of us are. And so help us to love each other as you have loved us. We pray all these things, God, in your name. Amen.